Now, David, in all of your podcasts with the Digital HR Leaders podcast, and I hope people listen, and by the way, it is so much more fun to be on the questioning side than the receiving side. I remember when I was no longer a student and didn't have to take a test and I got to give a test. It's more fun to give a test than take one. But you always ask this question: how can the HR people analytics identify the skills for the future? Because that's a common question. What does this mean for the skills of our future?
Well, I'll have a stab at that. I'll let Jonathan add to it. So yeah, and this is a question that we're going to be asking all the guests in this particular series. Well, you know, as you both know, skill availability is high on the CEO's agenda. I've seen the data from McKinsey highlighting that nearly 80% of CEOs are concerned about skill availability and then that impact on innovation, cost, quality, and growth. And that's a situation that's probably been exacerbated by the pandemic. So the lens is intensifying on HR and people analytics teams when it comes to skills. I think, Dave, you wrote something a couple of years ago actually around how workforce planning was now was really now becoming work, you know, almost a focus on task and skills rather than jobs, maybe when we've been looking at in the past. You know, people analytics is at the heart of this, and just some examples. You know, people analytics is obviously working, and HR professionals working with the organisation to really understand the business strategy and translating this into skills now, skills for the future. Using natural language processing, for example, to infer the skills of the workforce rather than going out and asking people what their skills are. And then understanding adjacent skills to that to help people acquire those quickly, perhaps, and blending that with learning. Obviously, understanding from some of the external data that's out there, the volume, location, availability of skills, using this to inform strategy around site location, for example, recruitment, learning, mergers and acquisitions, also to that kind of build versus buy versus bot maybe as well in terms of understanding skills. And I think what we're seeing is people analytics is almost helping bring traditional silos in HR, such as learning, such as mobility, such as succession, such as workforce planning together. And the thread that's linking them together is some of that skills data. You know, and we're seeing organizations now developing some of those talent marketplaces, either working directly with some of the vendors that are growing faster. They're all building some of these products themselves that actually help employees navigate their careers within the organization, maybe work on projects where they can use some of the skills that they've got that they're maybe not using in their current role, to help develop some of those skills, to identify mentors, to really help shape their careers within organizations. And obviously the benefit to the organization is it helps grow those skills in areas that they need.
I think back, you know, 16 months ago, 18 months ago, 20 months ago, we had no idea of what the world was going to be like, and that all of us globally have experienced. And the ability to respond, the businesses have responded to that. It's been incredibly tough for some businesses, and on the other hand, it's been you know, an impetus for other businesses, strangely, and for employees and workers. You know, for some people, it's been terrible times. I mean, really drastic, horrible personal and career times. But for other people, they've come out of it blossoming. There was some report in the UK that said, you know, 20% of people have more money now than they had before the pandemic, which is, you don't want to think of the pandemic like that because it makes you feel guilty about all the horrible things and the devastating losses that people have. One of the things that has come out of the pandemic is that work and workers are more thought about now than ever before in human history. And that's because the choices that workers have got, the people have got, are now greatly exacerbated by the ability to work remotely, differently, in different things. Not every skill, not every type of business, granted, I understand that. But there are large chunks of the economy where there are different options now available to employees. And that gives businesses different employees as well. And so I think the need for teams, HR, finance, supply chain, real estate, you know, et cetera, to all work together to really help workers and workforces manage through these different skill challenges, these remote hybrid skill challenges, these inability to have immigration. Many countries don't have much immigration now, because of the pandemic. And so there's all these challenges that go, but the bottom line of all of that is that what David and I have seen, what many have witnessed, is that the ability, the use of data in the people profession has vastly expanded during the global pandemic, and the need for CEOs and C-suite executives to have this sort of data to help them know where the skills are, what the skills they need, and how to get those skills is more valuable now than ever before in any industry before the pandemic. So now is the time for HR to quote the Martin Luther King quote, now absolutely is the time.
In this series, we will be speaking to a range of senior leaders who are pushing a data-driven and digital HR agenda. Make sure that you subscribe via your podcast app of choice and also via our YouTube channel for free and regular interviews with the digital HR leaders of the future.